Hi, Misha here, and it's time for another helicopter video. This time we have the British Westland Whirlwind. This was used in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I have two models here. I have this one here from the early 60s. And we have this one over here from the 70s, both of which are 1/72 scale diecast from Corgi, makers of most of the British things out there. But yeah, the Whirlwind was a anglicized version, licensed production version from Westland of the Sikorsky S-55 Chickasaw, or as it's sometimes known, the H-19. Relatively early helicopter design. Westland had already been making other Sikorsky designs. For example, there was the Westland Dragonfly, which was based on the S-51. The Whirlwind first test flew in August of '53, and then was accepted into service in '54. It would be used primarily by the Navy, but also the Air Force, the Royal Air Force. And there were many versions. But usually the differences had to do with, for example, the engines. The original engine, the American, was replaced in '55 with the more powerful British, and then in 1960 they actually went to a turbo shaft type engine, and these were primarily used in the Navy, at least the HAS versions, for anti-submarine. They would carry either a dipping sonar or a torpedo. They could not do both, so they would actually operate in pairs called hunter-killers, where one would dip the sonar and the other one would travel with the torpedo. They could also be fitted with a couple of depth charges instead of the torpedo, but this being an early helicopter design was kind of limited in its lift capabilities and all of that. But yeah, not a lot out there on this design, frankly. It's a, helicopter. It could also be used to transport a small number of people. Has 3 blades, as you can tell. One neat thing, they could fold for stowage on board ship, and that is possible with these Corgi models. They ship with 2 sets, so you can have one folded or deployed. Also, the door opens here. It's a little stiff on these, but there is a guy inside. Crew figures, the usual. Like I said, that one is kind of painted in search and rescue. Typically, as newer Whirlwinds would come online, the older ones, like the HAS 1 and HAR 1, would be relegated to search and rescue. Here's a slightly different version. That first was from the Falklands. This version is from the 70s, Cyprus, I believe. Notice it actually has landing wheels. This one has kind of these neat little pads, and they do rotate, where they kind of flex on a mount so you can land them. This has more conventional wheels. This is a HAR-10, one of the last versions. It had uprated engines and other little differences. A lot of the older Whirlwinds would be upgraded. Westland made about 360 of these. So not a huge number, but not small. A lot of little differences in these two versions, kind of neat. But of course, these would soon be replaced by newer, more powerful, more capable designs. Overall, the Whirlwind was about 41 feet long, had a rotor diameter of about 53 feet. It could go just over 100 miles per hour, about 105 to 110 miles maximum. And it could climb up to about 13,000 feet. Again, keep in mind the Chickasaw, which this is based on, was quite an early helicopter design, so it had a lot of limitations that you would expect for, say, a Korean War era chopper. Although Westland and Britain did their best to update it some, and they were partially successful. I always find models of these early helicopters pretty neat. It's kind of, they have a different aesthetic to them. That's why I have two of these. Why not? They're different. But neat models. I think for the British stuff, you really can't do much better than the Corgis. They do a lot of neat British planes and stuff. But yeah, that's really about it. An anti-submarine and kind of general utility transport chopper from the early to mid-Cold War period. If you have any questions or comments, please do post them below. I greatly appreciate you tuning in. And if you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.